Welcome to another edition of the Big O Show with the Big O, Orestes Destrade, longtime major leaguer, three-time Japan Series champion, longtime Rays broadcaster, slugger, all around good dude.
I like slugger.
What's up, Big O?
I'm doing good, man.
How we doing?
Happy Veterans Day on this beautiful
Yes, indeed.
Tuesday. We thank all of our veterans, and we're so proud of them for protecting this fine country and doing what they do.
Absolutely, 1,000%. We can't do any of this shit without them.
No.
And especially now, dangerous times, they're being called on to do some stuff. So
thank you.
Thank you, guys. The veterans who have already done this, the active duty folks, we thank you.
Active duty, too.
All of you who have given so much. Quick story, Big O. I'll do a quick story.
Please.
Met a gentleman over when I was getting my back looked at, biospine, and he said, I've had 78 surgeries. 78 surgeries.
What?
He was a mechanic.
And a car fell on him?
Nope. A plane blew up, and he was in it.
No, seriously?
A disabled plane came in.
That's no joke.
Landed. And, of course, all the, as these guys do, they run to the fire. They don't run away from the fire. They run to the fire to save the pilot and everybody, get them all out. And they got some of them out, got some of the crew out. And then the plane blew up.
Holy cow.
A lot of guys were hurt. He was one of them, had both of his arms amputated and then put back on.
No, come on.
Yeah. He said, yeah, I had both my arms amputated. I'm looking, I'm like, it goes, oh, yeah, well, they put him back on. I'm like, what?
Now that explains
73 years old, 73, 74 years old, beautiful head of hair, handsome fella. But I'm like, dude, thank you for your service.
Jeez Louise.
And all that you've gone through in the last 40 years of
that's a story.
78 different surgeries.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no joke. Now, it sounded funny when you first said it, but it's not funny and not how it happened.
Well, he has a great disposition about it.
Sounds like it.
It's just, these are, just everyday guys walking around who are veterans who've served our country.
And experience.
And truly served our country. Not like when a congressman retires and they say, hey, he served his country for 40 years of taking illegal payments and getting bribes. No, you didn't serve our country. You sucked off the teat. These are people who actually served our country.
You served the lobbyists.
And you served the lobbyists. You got served a lot of whiskey that we paid for. But no, these are the true heroes.
These are the real heroes.
And we really thank them and remember them on this Veterans Day.
Very well, we should.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are definitely tranquilo y tropical. Those guys are
they are
special.
Special folks. All right. Great ball players that were also in the service. Ted Williams missed 3 years of his career, 4 years of World War II pilot.
World War II pilot.
Yeah.
The great Yogi Berra also served.
Yeah.
So many, man. I mean, Joe DiMaggio, who I was, lucky enough to have 2 private lunches with years ago.
Served
diligently. The list is, Whitey Ford. So some of those great ones.
They had to go serve right in the middle of their careers.
In the middle of their careers. Bob Feller was another one that. So these guys, during some of the biggest wars, World War II, and some other, the obviously the Korean War in the 50s. Those guys are to be applauded because not only were they baseball heroes, sports heroes, but they were true heroes.
Yeah.
So hats off.
And like the Korean players have to go do their mandatory service. One of our Rays players had to go do that.
Yeah. Korean, Chinese do their mandatory service. There's a lot of countries that have. Japan does not anymore, obviously, but
Israel does. But how many Jews playing baseball? So
there's a few.
I'm not from Israel.
True. Actually, you're right. I don't think I can't remember the last.
They have the mandatory military service. Yeah.
All
right, let's talk some baseball. And we already got 3 comments in here. Thank you guys for jumping in. Appreciate that.
What happened to the Bucks? No,
it's not Buck stuff. It's not Buck stuff.
Following up from the JP Peterson show.
But we will be talking about this.
Heat on that.
Mike H.
Peterson.
Mike H says Ortiz and Cruz facing federal charges up to 20 years in prison. Looks like they will make.
We could kick off with that, man.
Examples of them to save online betting. MLB just made rule change, caps wagers on pitch level bets to 200 and no parlays. Well, first of all, we actually discussed this about a month and a half ago with our man Nate Boyer, who was Matt Boyer. Matt Boyer. Nate's the football player.
Yeah,
Matt Boyer, who was the bookie for
many people, but including the
interpreter for Ohtani,
Ipe Mizuhara
or Ohtani. Yeah. But definitely the interpreter.
Wow. What was that?
Allegedly.
No, for Ipe.
Of course. No, Ohtani had nothing to do with it.
Big old show.
No, Ohtani had nothing to do with it. Of course not. We know that.
It's funny because
your best friend's betting, $360 million of your dollars. You're not going to tell him.
If you search Matt Bauer, and obviously Matt's serving right now his 1 year or whatever it's going to, he went in October 10th. Been in contact with
if you're listening to Matt in the Hooskow, we love you, brother.
In the Hooskow, yeah. And he might be actually, and he's probably going to do a good 6 or 8 months of good behavior and come out and live the straight and narrow life. And
he's a good man, which he's already doing.
He's already doing, has been doing
for
but it's interesting because if you look up Matt Bauer and any of his, including our show, and any of the posts and any of the podcasts that he was on. I mean, he definitely questions, what exactly was going on. But getting back to Clase and Ortiz, I mean, this is serious, man. These are serious allegations, serious indictments. There's a lot of mafiosos involved in this. There's millions of dollars involved in this. I mean, there was pitches that literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars.
$450,000 on one pitch.
On first pitch
was bet.
First pitch to be a ball, and then these guys were spiking it. They didn't even want to give the chance to the umpire to have a little bounce. Let's say like a slider that happens to kind of the catcher catches it,
or a guy to swing,
That's a strike. So they were doing it so glaringly. What I don't understand, but here's the catch. Here's the catch. What people don't understand, and I'm going to tell you something, and it's kind of crazy, right? And I need to get a little bit more information, and we'll delve further into this. But in the Dominican Republic, there is a system, okay? And you're talking about I don't want to dare I say, that they're a third world country, but they're definitely not a big time country, right? So there's a lot of shenanigans that goes on. There's a lot of shenanigans that goes on in the United States of America.
I believe the president has a word for those countries.
And what is that? Oh, geez. Where's Tim Hamon when I need him?
We won't repeat
because he was talking about Venezuela and some of these other countries. Yeah, no. So here's the catch. And this could be, and I need to find out why, because here's the question. Why? Especially Emmanuel Clase. Emmanuel Clase was in a Clase by himself already. Yeah. One of the top 2 or 3 relievers in all of baseball. It's pretty much for the last couple of years. It's been Clase, Edwin Diaz, Robert Suarez. These are the elite. You're
going to make $25 million a year.
He was already making millions of dollars. He was in arbitration, but he was going to jump definitely into the teens, close to 20s, 20s a year, because he was the best of the best. He's only 27 years old. So.
How much he got paid for this allegedly in the report? It said
I heard $7,000 a pitch or something like that. I think there's way more to this, and I'm going to tell you why. So here's the catch, and people don't know this. There are systems and mafiosos, shall I say, and I use the word loosely because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're all mafia, but there's
organized crime.
There's organizations, in Dominican Republic that literally almost like. Paid players, young Dominican players that are really talented, they'll pay them in advance what they think they might be worth. And when they sign the big deal, they take that money back. Mm-hmm. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's almost like a situation where that XYZ player from Dominican Republic is going to end up being a stud, but he's 19 years old, right? And they're willing to give him $250,000 or $500,000 now, so that kid can enjoy his life and buy the chains and put money in the bank. And again, I use both extremes. There's two extremes.
Got to have a priority.
Well, I did,
chess piece first.
I did two extremes. So you've got,
which is what Wander did.
Put money in the bank or buy the gold chains and buy the big car. Wander is different though. Wander doesn't fit into this because Wander was a bonus baby. So Wander got $3.6 million to sign. We're talking about the guys that are getting $100,000 to sign.
Yeah,
but then they're kicking it in A ball and double A, and they're like, your upside is huge.
Right.
So they'll go, we'll invest in you. We're basically buying a stock, but we'll pay you $250,000, $500,000 now, and then later on, you got to pay that money back to us.
Yeah.
When you sign the big deal.
Right.
That's kind of Slim Shady, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Because they kind of have their hooks on you.
It's supposed to be agents doing that.
Exactly. Well,
your agent is supposed to be able to loan you money.
But your agent could loan you money.
The agent's probably probably involved in the organized crime too.
Exactly. And so it depends who your agent is. Again, Dominican Republic, you get, especially at the young age,
it's shady
stuff going on.
Yeah, there's baseball.
There's a lot of selling of the player almost as a commodity.
Yeah.
Right. So
they get their hooks in early. So that kind of goes to tell me, I wonder what the underlying story is in this, because on one sense you have Ortiz that was making basically the minimum. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a stellar reliever just yet. So young, early in his career reliever. But you have Clase, who literally was a stud. Imagine Clase having been performed for the Cleveland Indians, tried to move on in the playoffs this year. Would have made a huge difference, right? I'm sure the teammates are like, screw you, Clase, man. You kind of cost us moving forward in the playoffs because you weren't available for us with this dumbass move. So I'm intrigued to, as this develops and comes out, I don't know what he's willing to share or not and how complicated we're talking about. Because when you start talking about millions of dollars, there's some big money people, there's some big dangerous people behind it. So we're going to see how this develops. But MLB's trying to squash it by doing some things like again, the prop betting scenario. Obviously, NBA's got egg on their face also in October with all these dealings with Chauncey Billups and Rozier and all these guys. Yeah,
it's ugly, and we talked about it a couple months ago that it's in front of us.
Yeah, we have to. And they have to do something.
I don't think it's going away either.
No, and Mike Gates agrees with you here. He says somehow these players were compromised by a honeypot or something and were blackmailed to do this. Nobody's doing it for $7,000 and risking tens of millions.
No, but
for Clase, it's like this is not a 1-year suspension.
No,
this is not. And to his point, they're going to make an example of these kids. And
well, listen, the only chance they have is to get exonerated completely in the trial. You know what I mean? They have to kind of prove that they do not get. It's one thing to get indicted, but it's another thing to get to lose the case. But if you can get acquitted, then MLB kind of doesn't have a case themselves. It's different than a scenario like with Wander Franco, which was something that was so glaringly ugly,
right? That
even if he not gotten convicted, I think MLB was going to drop the gauntlet on him.
Right.
This one, if they get acquitted, then MLB has to kind of bring them back because there's just, hearsay. I didn't do it. Okay, that's it. So and they come back. That's their only chance. Other than that, if they get convicted, even if they slap them on the wrist somehow, though, by the way, the chasm of like what they could get is from probation, obviously, short-term jails and to like 60 years in jail.
Right.
There's so many different type indictments in this thing they're going to ask.
They're going to look for him to roll over on whoever's involved and all that. That's going to be part of it. And then
it's a major
stitches. So yeah, it's a major.
It's a major thing, and it was again MLB. I'm sure JP, asked the legal system, hold off until after the World Series, please. Give us like a week after the World Series. And thank God that they did, because if this would have been hit right away, how embarrassing that would have been. It would have crushed this incredible, arguably best World Series ever type thing. So somehow the MLB powers that be, which is very formidable in New York, were able to squash this and wait till after the World Series.
Lonnie Wilkins, who works for the Cubs, says, as a Major League Baseball team employee, my contract, I am not allowed to gamble on baseball. Yet there's signage, broadcast ads, and a damn team-owned sports book built into the ballpark. Yeah, it's a lot of mixed signals to the players. But it's not. And Lonnie says, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg with the players. This could be this era's steroid drama issues. I mean, it's just this
interesting.
Is
interesting comparison, by the way.
Yeah,
it's this era's steroid issue. Here's the difference, though. Unlike the rest of humanity that was not using steroids, it was specific to athletes, both baseball, Olympics, you name it, other sports. The rest of the world is using, prop betting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of intertwined into the fabric of society now. And once baseball opened up Pandora's box and said, come on in, because NFL really was benefiting firstly the most for it. Now NBA is into it and all these things. You created kind of your own bed a little bit for that. You know what I mean?
Well, when Matt Boyer was here, and I tell you guys, go back and watch that episode. You can find it on our YouTube channel. And I asked him specifically, I said, will the sports books or the leagues force the sports books to stop taking these under bets,
right,
first pitch bets that can be easily controlled by the player
and the umpire,
and sometimes not even harm your team long term.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're talking about a basketball player who's scheduled or over under is 11 rebounds and he gets 8, he ain't gonna kill his team.
It's not gonna necessarily mean
and nobody's gonna notice.
Right.
First pitches, spiking first pitches 20 feet in front of the plate might in conjunction with abnormal amounts of money being bet on that particular pitch,
sure,
is obviously going to present a red flag, and it did, and that's how they got caught.
Yeah.
So limiting the amount of bets is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Is okay, but to me, it's like, why not get rid of them? There's so much shit to bet on. I mean, I don't even know how they keep up with it. It's unnecessary. They get rid of the first pitch bets. There's plenty of other stuff to bet. That's not going to hurt the bottom line of these sports books.
How's prop betting? Because again, I don't gamble. So how does it work
in football?
In football, as far as game day.
Yeah. So it'll be
live game.
So Bucky Irving over under 75 yards in this game. Okay. Well, if I'm Bucky Irving, and I don't even want to use a player's name because that's wrong.
It's unfair.
So and player X.
Yeah, it don't matter. Yeah.
Player X over under 50 yards rushing. I mean, that's easy for a said player to control. It's really easy.
That's true.
It's not hard. It's not hard to hide that. Yeah. You can basically just pull up with a hammy in the first. You can just say, "Oh, dude, my hamstring's tight. I don't feel like I can go today."
Right.
Or I tried it, or it's just not. And nobody's going to say shit about that.
Yeah, because there's so many kind of injuries anyway in football that you could just say, I twisted my ankle here.
Yeah.
And you're done.
You come out of the game.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. Basketball, with all the games that they have. Baseball, I mean, these over-under bets, I'm not saying could get rid of the under completely. Maybe that's going to be a problem because Matt said, nah, they're not going to get rid of the under.
That's what I didn't think.
But at some point, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Because it's too easily controlled by these players. I don't know. It just, to me, it's, I think it's a positive that we've legalized gambling because one of the ways that you can track this stuff is through the legal betting.
Sure.
Now, everything now is on record. So when I get a $10,000 bet on, Emmanuel Clase to throw a first pitch ball, that's going to raise a red flag.
That's another thing that I don't understand. Again, didn't they not think that they were going to be found out, when
it's kind of stupid.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars are being made on one.
Unless they told the player, hey, we're not going to bet a whole bunch of money on this, and then lied to him and then went out there and dropped 450. And they're not doing like a $450,000 bet. They're doing like 10,000 here. But all these places report to the same place, and they it's all going into data, and they red flags pop up.
They figure out that it's going.
Yeah, these AI and computers are like, oh, we got a lot of money bet on this particular pitch. It's like red flag city.
Bottom line, it's embarrassing to the sport, terrible for these players, and there has to be some underlying
more guardrails.
Well, and there has to be some underlying reason how these guys. It just doesn't make any sense. There wasn't enough money for them to make off of this per challenging a career for years and years.
Yeah,
of millions of dollars. I mean, the weakest reliever that stays in the big leagues for 4 or 5 years is making $2.5 million a year.
It's crazy.
If you're talking about an Ortiz, that kid who was a midline reliever. But when you're talking about Clase, you're talking about tens of millions of dollars.
Gotta be smarter.
It does. But it's not smarter. There has to be.
Something more.
With Rozier, like the guy's making, so as of right now, the Heat are paying his $26 million salary until, something else, gets found out or whatever, but they're paying him. But why would you challenge your $26 million salary that could, if he has a pretty good year, turns into another payday?
And this is why,
and I don't
when
think,
they come
before
calling,
you say what you say, I don't think some people are saying, oh, he has a gambling problem. I don't think this is a gambling problem. I don't think this is a situation where what he supposedly have done, which is pull up from games.
It's like what Mike said. It could be a honeypot situation. If you're married, if you're married, and you listen.
If they do it to politicians and actors and other high level people,
that shit's undefeated, as we know.
They could do it.
And they set you up. And and then you do what you do, and it's all on tape, and it's like, okay. And once they get their hooks into you, you're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
Yeah.
And either you got two choices: go report it to the FBI, and then that's probably going to end poorly too.
With Chauncey Billups, like I could see that being more like a gambling risk-taking thing because the guy loved poker, right? So maybe he got caught up in the excitement of like, I could win.
I could travel the country and I have these guys that set up the game for me, and I come into town. I'm a big deal. We go to the suite.
Yeah, that is the attraction. But these other guys, I think there's something else behind it that we may never find out what it is.
If I were Chauncey Billups, boy, I know all those people that got defrauded.
Yeah,
he may or may not have even known that the group that he was with was doing it.
Didn't know because there's some people.
He got bigger problems in the FBI, bro.
The FBI being
way bigger problems
around
in the FBI.
Portland.
All right, Michael LaRue asks you, Big O. Yeah. The Rays have been linked to a couple of free agent catchers.
Yeah,
JT Realmuto from the Phillies at 2 years, $30 million.
Yeah,
Victor Caratini from the Astros at 2 years, $14 million. Do you like any of these options?
Yeah, no, I do. I honestly, I've spoken about JT being an interesting veteran. JT's nowhere near what he was 5 years ago, which was a dynamic defensive catcher, always been more offensive than defensive, but still a pretty good pretty good catcher defensively. He's lost it a little bit there, but in order to stopgap what has been the bleeding of umpteen different names and catchers that we've had for the last decade, you need a force. And there's even talk about Danny Jansen coming back. And he's a free agent. And, he wouldn't be super expensive. I don't think he's going to, warrant the $12 million he made last year. But regardless, I'd go after JT. And that's, you're taking a chance there. You're going to pay this guy $15 million a year. But I would take a chance on him. I think he's good for it. We have a lot of young arms in that rotation. So if you're going to spend money on a veteran, I think the catching and left field would make most sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really like that. I hope that he would like the fact that he's playing in a more comfortable environment, in Tampa. He's already played obviously in Florida with he came up with the Marlins, plays indoor, a little more comfortable climate. The whole thing can maybe help his own body recuperate quicker and be able to catch more games. But I think Realmuto is a timely catch for them, no pun intended, even though he's definitely on the downslide of his career. I would take a chance on that.
He's 34. Yeah. He's 34. Last year, slash 257, 315, 384, 12 homers, 52 RBIs, and 134 games.
Look at his lifetime batting average, probably well over 270.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy normally is hit 270, 280. Has pop. I'm not looking for him to crush the baseball as much, but you're still going to get it. I think you'd get 250, 15 home runs, 60 RBIs.
You get that leadership too.
You get the leadership, and you get a guy that, though, here's the problem with the Rays. Not the problem, but they're very scrutinous as their catchers because they're really what they tried to do is obviously, kind of, go on the cheap a lot of times, even though they took a chance with Danny Jansen,
right,
and paid him, a lot. And then by the time that he wasn't doing well or they weren't doing well, they unloaded his contract and traded him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They said we're not going to pay the last third of his contract.
Yep.
But nevertheless, they look for defensive catchers, especially their big thing. Like, what is the big thing in baseball right now? Framing. So,
which has been debunked a little bit,
and I think it deserves to
be.
And
with robotic umpires coming in, maybe as soon as next year.
It may not.
Don't invest in a guy that's a framer.
Exactly, because you just tap and challenge it. I think that Real Muto is good enough defensively, definitely good enough offensively from what they've had over the last several years, and leadership wise. I think he'd be a great.
That's what we need.
I think he'd be.
I don't know the guy at all, but
great. No, I know him. He's a good leader, good guy.
How important is that in this Rays clubhouse?
Well,
that's full. You just lost Fairbanks, who was your player rep and your
player
veteran
rep, and you've got Brandon Lau, who is not a real. He's kind of a quiet kind of guy. I think he still is one of the leaders because out of just tenure.
Yeah,
and was super well respected and deservedly so. Yandy's
another quiet guy,
kind of not quiet, but the reality is that, without the fact that Yandy doesn't speak English, you know what I mean? You can't really have a guy that is your clubhouse leader. Like, let's be candid, Shohei Ohtani is not the clubhouse leader in the Dodgers clubhouse.
Right.
And this is the greatest player in the game.
Right.
The clubhouse leader is Mookie. It's Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
To some degree, they'll even say that it's Miguel Rojas, who didn't play every day and didn't have that great a season. But those guys are the clubhouse leaders because they have to at least connect, language-wise, in a very dramatic way, not just a few quips here and there. So for me, Real Muto could be that guy. He could jump right into it and drive this what overall is a young staff.
All right. So, and there's also Victor Caratini, who might be less option, but
I like Caratini actually. I like him a lot, and he'd be half the cost probably or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's enough veteranness about that guy, but I think JT brings more exposure to winning at a high level.
Lonnie Wilkins says, how much does the Trop impact players wanting to play for the Rays who have a winning reputation but never paid premiums for free agents? Would money talk this time around with the new owners? JP has said that real bad for players' knees and backs playing on the turf and LED lights being hard to see the ball as a batter. I mean, I've heard, Kyle Tucker has told us that he has to ice his knees every time he plays there. He would never.
They're laying down new turf. They're laying down new turf, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be.
That could be better.
A big difference. The LED has been, really, really bad for some hitters, and then some hitters,
don't have a problem.
They have zero problem. Willie Adames had dramatic problems at home with that LED. So go figure that. That's kind of by case by case. It has been an issue for outfielders and running around at the Trop. That needs to change. So hopefully they're addressing that and being more suitable for the everyday player. But bottom line, I think, listen, the Trop is not a comfy home run hitting place. And that kind of, that brings us to Junior Caminero. Is the 45 home runs going to translate over to the Trop 81 games? Or, in fact, if you got Junior, if you pull him up real quick, I'd be interested to see home and away home runs. I think he was fairly even, though. But there was no doubt that he did hit a handful opposite field home runs that were Yankee Stadium home runs. You know what I mean? That there was these blasts that maybe he was, it helped him out, but not that many, because this kid, when he hit him, So if you're going to say, okay, take away 5 jacks, so he's still going to hit 40. This kid's a serious talent. His swing is so aggressive, so beautiful. Again, I use the comparison of Marcell Ozuna, who is kind of on his downslide of his career now. But Marcell Ozuna 3-4 years ago, I mean, in fact, if you remember, I don't know for the real Rays fans that have been to a lot of the games, Marcell Ozuna hit a home run. Probably the farthest home runs that have been hit at the Trop, have been a Jose Canseco shot that was hit to left, that hit the top, and one that Ozuna might have outdone him. That was just about 3 seasons ago, maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so they both have this swing where with their right hand, they release their top hand, which I'm all for. I mean, I used to release my top hand right-handed. I kept both hands left-handed for whatever reason. I know the reason. It's because I'm lefty dominant. So when I used to swing and release, but you want to release up high and finish strong back, those two guys have just an incredible bullwhip at the end of their swing. So I think the kid's not going to struggle by going to the Trop. So as far as, answering your questions, is the Trop affect a little bit on the knees. But if you're a power hitter, you're going to hit them wherever. But there's no doubt that it'll affect some other guys, some guys like a Yandy who had a resurgence of home runs this year. And he did hit some little, some cheapies, if you will, into right field this past season at home. So,
well, here are the numbers. At home, 294 ABs, 49 runs, 92 hits. I'll just do these in comparison. At home, 294 ABs to 308 away.
Right.
Runs, 49-44. Hits, 92-67 away from home.
Mm-hmm.
Doubles, 17 at home, 11 on the road. Home runs, 22 at home, 23.
Yeah, that's why I thought I thought he was evened out.
RBI 54, 56.
Right.
Everything pretty interesting. Average is really there's a disparity. 313 at home, 218 on the road.
How about that?
Everything else is almost exactly the same.
Home cooking, he felt comfortable at home.
But you had more home runs away.
But that's going to translate. If he likes playing at home, it's not going to be about the stadium itself. It's going to be about just feeling comfortable. Usually what happens, unlike, again, Willie Adames was a rarity because he really had a tough time seeing the ball at the Trop.
Yeah.
But if there's not a problem with the LED with Junior, which I don't think there is, then it's just a comfort of getting out of your own home bed, getting, going the way you go to the ballpark. There's players that literally just normally most players do well at home because they have the routine. Then when they get on the road, especially younger players, by the way, he's a younger player. This is really, his first true full year in the big leagues, right? He wasn't a rookie or he would have won Rookie of the Year. Heck, he's going to be up for, he's not going to win, but he's going to be up for MVP. Obviously, Shohei is going to, Cal or Judge are going to win that. We'll talk about that, in due time. But regardless, when you go on the road, it's the new, especially when you're a young player, the new ballparks, the new scenario. Where do I go eat? What do I do? Do I just stick at the hotel? Getting to the ballpark, getting comfortable with home plate. There's nuances that tick away just a little bit, and all of a sudden it shows on the field. While at home, every bit of your day. And I'll tell you, like no other sport, baseball is a habitual repetition sport. So what you do, where you go, not to mention extremely superstitious. Ball players are probably the most superstitious of all the sports because of how many times they do everything. If it's going well, you're eating at the same place, you're doing the same things, you're stretching the same way. And that usually works out best at home. So Junior's going to be fine. It's who you bring around Junior that's going to be the key. And obviously, you've got Aranda. You've got Brandon Lau for however long Brandon Lau is going to be on this roster, because I still have a feeling that he could be packaged in a trade deal, possibly. You've got, obviously, the great Yandy Diaz, who also wouldn't surprise me if they package him up in a trade deal. The bottom line is that you need another veteran couple of bats, and maybe it's Real Muto, definitely in the outfield. I think the likes of O'Hearn is the one guy that I think makes sense for moderate FA money.
Yeah.
Unless you go out and you make a nice trade for somebody. Harrison Bader's been, talked about a little bit. And I like him, but I just think I need somebody that can pop you 20 and drive you 75
That's
or
what's
80.
needed for sure.
Gotta be. And preferably, a right-handed bat. We've got a lot of left-handed power hitters. But either one, O'Hearn's lefty. But I'll take either one of them.
There being reports of a trade.
I'm not surprised. They've been making several. You got Jake Freely came through.
Royals acquire Meisner from the Rays.
Yeah, that happened. That was for basically they just gave him up and kind of in lieu. Basically, that was the trade. There was you gave up Cameron Meisner in that 40-man roster spot, and you replaced him with Jake Freely, even though they weren't traded for each other.
Right.
So Meisner was basically traded for cash, considerations and cash and considerations later. So there'll be a ball player to be named, which means, we'll take whatever you got. I think that Fraley is a decent ball player. Got signed by the Rays, but I don't think he's the answer in left field or right field. So that basically what's going on, and it's an interesting quote by Eric Neander when he said, I think it was this week, definitely, where he was talking about the moves that they've made recently. And I'm going to try to find it real quick here for you. And he said the likes where, hey, we're making kind of small moves right now to kind of fill the gaps a little bit before, we make some bigger moves in later. So where was that?
And somebody's asking about Kyle Tucker.
Here it is. Let's try to quote from Eric Neander. Let's try to build up some strength in numbers, then just see what the rest of the offseason presents. So, they're replacing a Meisner with another player that's similar to Meisner.
The big deals aren't.
The big deals are pending, and that'll be yet to be seen, including. Oh, by the way, do they wrap up Junior Caminero in a 9-figure deal? 5-6 years for $100 million or not? Is
there urgency to do so? Now, I mean, we could point to a Christopher Morel who had 23 homers 2 years ago.
Super high. Everybody's like, okay, this could translate to 30 homers, and wow, this guy's legit.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit 45 home runs and then not turn out to be no one's ever hit 45 home runs.
Not to be at least good.
I mean, every time, and when he passed these milestones, he was mentioned with guys like Junior Griffey, and Cabrera, and the greatest hitters of all time, are the only ones that have hit this many home runs
as a young player,
in their age 21 season.
Correct.
So all done.
Yes,
it's never happened. Now it could, but is there any
what you look at
urgency to do it now? Because you have control over him for a long, long time.
Right. And what you look at is true greater plate discipline. So when we've had the chance to finally really see Christopher Morel in totality this season, which obviously there was a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of reasons why he didn't play for long periods of time, that being Morel, was because his plate discipline was horrendous. He overswang sometimes, and then all of a sudden you would see a bullet, because when he hit the ball and he connected.
Well, you swing that hard.
Yeah.
At some point you're going to connect.
But dare I say, Junior Caminero does not swing any softer than Christopher Morel. It's plate discipline and what pitches you're deciding to swing that hellacious swing on, and have a
and
play,
pull your hips in your head,
and pull your hips in your head and everything. So Junior's plate discipline and what he's doing with pitches, how he's going opposite field. Christopher Morel was trying to hit a home run to left field every time, right? So can Christopher Morel correct that? Is his hand-eye coordination? He could. I don't think it's going to be here. I don't even know if the Rays are fully giving up on him. I'm going to tell you something right now, because of the fact that
I can't take no more.
Yeah, because of the fact that he's still, somewhat manageable in the realm of costly left fielders.
Right.
So
he hit as many home runs as, dare I say, Josh Lowe this year.
Yeah. Well,
dare I say?
I don't think they had 50 RBIs out of the outfielders this year.
Yeah.
By anybody.
Unbelievable.
That's a glaring stat that I think should not be overlooked.
Yeah.
When you have an outfield of 8 different guys that they threw out there throughout the season because of injuries, et cetera, not be able to drive in over 50 runs, that's glaring, man.
Yeah.
So, but Christopher Morel showed that his plate discipline, his frustration led to get the best of him. You did not see that with Junior Caminero. Even when he went into a little slide, he come out of it, and he had his hitting guru come from Dominican Republic right around the All-Star break, remember? And he kind of worked with him a little bit, got him back on track and where he needed to be because he was pulling off, and he went back to swinging down and up and going towards, thinking right center, hitting the left center. Yeah. It was all she wrote in the second half.
Yeah.
It was like
insane.
I thought he was actually going to go down because he went, if you remember around the All-Star break, he was starting to kind of dip. Yeah. That didn't happen. So if you're asking me, do I tie him up? For 2 reasons I tie him up. I tie him up because he's shown quality discipline at the plate, adjustments at the plate. Okay, that's massive, important, right? And obviously the power is the power. And then to kind of matriculate through certain things that you have to do to show the fandom that we're here and we're committed. Okay, how better to do that than to do it in a guy
that's a young star
that proved that he was good.
And it doesn't cost you a lot in the first 3 years.
It doesn't cost you a lot.
No. It looks great. And it doesn't cost you a lot. Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
So you give him $100 million and you pay him 4, 6, 8, then
which 15, is way more than he would make.
Then 20. Yeah, exactly.
And you're buying out these years.
And you're buying out years of arbitration.
And he gets his money a lot quicker.
And he gets
and
his
it's
money,
guaranteed.
And it's guaranteed. And if by chance he struggles by year 4 or 5, then you make a move.
Or by chance you go back to the minor leagues.
Yeah. That doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen with Junior. I think he's a legit,
totally different
superstar.
Dude. And we did have somebody asked about Kyle Tucker, and I think that because of the old carpet was so bad. Yeah. So with the new carpet, it could be open. His agent has told us that. So yeah, the Rays could be looking at that. I don't. How do they need a?
How do you do that deal though? How creative could the Rays be? How willing?
Well, if he's interested in some deferred money, boy, we could really talk. Because
deferred money and several opt-outs.
Yeah.
To have several opt-out type things.
I mean, if he were to sign a deal and got opt-outs because if he didn't like the organization or
he hit 50 home runs and then he opts out because he knows now the Yankees are, he's still young enough, that in a couple of years he could still be a massive free agent.
I can tell you this, that his representation has talked to the Rays new owners, and there's a dialogue, whether that's in the budget now or down the road. I don't know. And I know Kyle wants to come back and play here.
Yeah.
Without question, he wants to play in
Built
Tampa.
a house right down the road.
Yeah, he just actually knocked it down. He knocked down I won't tell you where it is, but here in South Tampa.
Definitely in South Tampa.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of money into, over, $10 million into his home. And he loves it here. And his family's from here, and he's got a lot of strong ties here. He would love to play.
You would need deferred money, which is exciting for a lot of players.
So when the stadium opens,
and when the stadium opens, and opt out scenario,
no state tax,
Yeah, Toronto is going after him hot and heavy. So the Blue Jays are rumored to be kind of,
and it won't
be courting him quite a bit.
And he's not that I know him like my best friend, but I play golf with him.
Yeah,
and knows his agent. It's not going to be just about money. I can tell you that right now. And Toronto, again, they're going to have to offer significantly more with their tax structure in Toronto.
I told you that Toronto is all in, like the big dog. They want this, this.
Well, they got the money.
Group. They have the money.
Yeah.
That's the key. Oh, by the way, they want to get Kyle Tucker. They also want to re-sign Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
So between those two deals, I mean,
by the way, if I hate to interrupt you.
No.
But both of those guys want to play here. They want to play in Tampa. They would rather play in Tampa.
If we get either one of those would be a coup.
Right.
And I don't think we're getting either of them.
I think we're I
don't know. That we're talking about there being a possibility if we can do, situations where deals are put out to, that would be something, because that would be exciting.
I don't want to be brainwashed to think that we can't afford them. It's like,
no, but we can't.
You don't know that, and I don't know that. I don't know what Zalewski, Fred Ridley wants to put. I don't know what Mike
Toronto's
Murphy
are going to offer packages that are going to be. When you say it's not about the money, it's still about the money.
Yeah, but
Toronto,
20% off the top.
Boston are going to show
20% off the top.
And Mass has tax. Yeah. So you're talking New York.
They don't call it Massachusetts for nothing.
Yeah,
bro.
You're right. So New York and Boston, you're going to get tax heavy.
Yeah.
Out west, you're going to get tax even heavier.
Plus, they love living here.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Listen,
I don't know. Defer a shitload.
Yeah.
That's
another part. When defer to when the new stadium opens.
Right.
When and going to get the bump up in revenue.
Yeah.
Which players are interested in doing.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but look, there's a lot of.
But
and again, we don't know.
I'm going to throw a curveball.
We knew what the old organization was going to do.
I'm going to throw a curveball, though. I don't think.
Here comes the deuce.
I don't think that
that
MLB is going to the PA. Excuse me. The PA is going to allocate for
hometown discounts.
No. For during the lockout. For a cap, right? I don't think they're going to. It's going to be a tough one, because the big question is, will the PA, agree to a salary cap? But if it does, and the rumor out there is that some of the big boy teams are going to grandfather in some stupid, crazy contracts.
Oh,
you follow what I'm saying?
Like you get paid during a strike?
No, it's not. You get paid during a strike. It's like, okay, well, you can't bust us because we signed this huge deal for Kyle Tucker. That was before the new CBA. Mm-hmm. So we got to, figure out how, we do some things.
Oh, in terms of a cap.
In terms of a cap.
Oh, yeah. I don't think the cap's going to be so low that you can't fit. The cap's not going to be 150 million.
Right.
The cap's going to be 300.
Right.
And then luxury tax after that.
Right.
I'm just throwing a number out there.
Yeah.
But the floor is also going to be 120.
120.
Yeah, damn right. It's going to be 120, which is right. $60 million more than the Rays ever spent.
Then 5 teams.
Yeah. So, it's going to raise all boats.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're even going to have many teams, but you're going to be able to.
Right.
And you're going to have that floor, which I think is going to make baseball way more parity across baseball. If every team, just think about it, the Rays, if they would have had to spend $120 to $130 million every year, think how much better they would have been.
Right. Oh, 100%, dude. I mean,
you give Eric Neander another 50, 60 million of
it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
With the talent that they have.
To force your cheap ass owners who are putting the money in their pocket instead of paying the players.
Yeah. And an extra just $30 million a year for Eric is massive because he would
make trades where you can actually add salary. Correct. Holy shit! What do they do with that?
Candidly, they wouldn't be making the Jake Freely trade.
No, hell no.
They wouldn't. They just
no, and a lot of other teams would be in the hunt for the Kyle Tuckers of the world. And right now, the word on the street is most teams with the possible lockout coming up are not going to get $130 million. The Rays would be looking at, we got to go out and spend another $50 million.
Correct, right.
And they'd have to be in the hunt for Kyle Tucker. Mm-hmm. And that's good for baseball.
I think it's great for baseball.
So I hope that the Major League Players Association will get way more into the floor than they are the cap, because I think the cap they can manage.
They're about the floor because they know that'll rise everybody in the smaller market teams
and make it more competitive for salaries, by the way.
Right.
Because I think you have very few teams spending over $200 million now.
Right.
The average is about 160. If you could get everybody to 150, 30 teams at 150 is a lot more in total dollars.
Yes.
And in total dollars right now, Major League Baseball is among the lower in percentage of revenues that go to the players.
Correct.
So as good as this union is, they're not making as much as the other unions in terms of percentage of revenues. So you're not doing very well.
Right.
You can do better. So bring everybody up to the floor. That means all the teams have to spend more money, makes everybody more competitive, makes better for making more money. That's just good for baseball.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
You would hope that smart people would figure this out.
Yeah. Hey, I did want to talk. I mean, again, congrats as the news came out last night to the deserving Nick Kurtz. No surprise there. The only surprise was that the kid didn't even start the season in the major leagues. He was a minor league guy that came up at the end of April for the Athletics, and because they were needing some power, and lo and behold, did he ever give them power? Woo.
This guy had, and just watching this kid hit throughout the season this year was so much fun. He's a big 6'4", left-handed hitting first baseman that really, really knows the strike zone so well. I mean, I just saw this kid have such good command of the zone. He knew how to flick a lefty slider over the left field for a base hit. He hit 290, so you don't do this day and age to see a power hitter hitting 290. It's just unheard of. To see a guy hit over 30, you're used to. That's why the season that Judge had. By the way, did you know? This is a sidebar. No, by the way, the Judge season this year is the most home runs by a batting champ ever. He hit 331 and he had 53 home runs. It's the most home runs hit by someone who won a batting title. So this kid is in that kind of like early stages realm. This is Nick Kurtz. Hit 290, hit 36 home runs, hit another like 8 or 10 in the minor leagues before he got called up. So he actually hit 100 runs when you add his minor league. Had a 6-for-6 day.
Had a 6-for-6 day. That was ridiculous. With what? 3 jacks? 4 jacks.
4 jacks.
4 jacks.
Yeah.
And
4 jacks and 2 doubles.
I was actually watching that game when he went 6-for-6, and he hit a couple of them to left field, and they were just bullets like it was a right-handed hitter hitting him. He is so strong, keeps his hands back very well, sets up a lot, believe it or not, like Shohei Ohtani. Sets up nice and tall, stays up tall, and just unloads. Loves the kid. I think he's going to have a stellar career. Another guy like Junior Cameronero, that what I'm looking at as a former hitter, what's his plate discipline? Yes, he has the buzz. He's always just trying to drop and drive. No, these guys have an idea up at the plate. So kudos to him. Also to Jack Wilson, who had a fantastic year. His counterpart is shortstop. The A's have a future. They have a really good young catcher, exciting outfielders. And if they can add some pitching, watch out for the A's come 2028 when they jump into their new stadium and they're going to unload some extra monies and go after some big FA guys. And the A's are a team on the come as far as, being a stellar team towards 29, 30 and beyond, because these guys are 23 years old. Wilson, phenomenal. The other guy that I want to commend, man, is Drake Baldwin. What a great opportunity that he was given. Another college kid out of Missouri State, Ryan Howard's alma mater. And I'm just impressed because haven't had many catchers win that award. Haven't had many black catchers in the major leagues. And I think that kind of, I was excited for that because I think the African-American, ball players more known, really more offensively. They're known as great outfielders with great arms, great speed, or, and then the pitching ranks. But catching, I mean, you got to go all the way back to Elston Howard, Roy Campanella, the great Johnny Roseboro, Charles Johnson, former teammate of mine, who got called CJ, wonderful guy. Well too. There's a couple of guys that are coming up that are pretty good right now. You got Chucky Robinson from the Reds, and another kid, AJ Lewis from the Rockies, is a young up and comer. But Drake had a phenomenal season, 19 home runs. I believe he hit over 270, 80 RBIs. He was a real surprise as far as, ended up being the everyday catcher for them. I saw a quote where Chris Sale was talking about that. He loves the way this kid calls a game. This is a veteran, potential future Hall of Famer, and Chris Sale talking about, a young kid. And though Chris Sale doesn't like to shake off pitches, he's notorious for kudos to that kid. The Atlanta Braves now, by the way, for the last few years, people were saying that their organization had taken a dive as far as young talent coming up. Well, they've got the kid Harris, the center fielder who won the Rookie of the Year just a couple years ago, like 3 years ago, and now they got this kid. So they've had like 2 in the last 4 years. Honorable mentions to Roman Anthony, also Boston Red Sox kid that got called up in the middle of the season. What a talent. I think that kid could possibly win a batting title as soon as next year. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
All that being said, Cade Horton with the Cubs was like 11-5. Great young arm. I will say this, and it's important to be said, because cyclically, you need new superstars on the blocks to follow your beloved game, whatever it is: soccer, football, basketball, hockey, baseball. And I think MLB really has some young, exciting talent, that are about to emerge and come out and be super exciting.
Well, and we talked about this on my show a little bit about the draft, and you go back to the 24 draft and these college players, Nick Kurtz from Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Jack Hagley,
Wake Forest. I knew it was a Southern school. We were deciding to go South Carolina. Who else?
Jack Caglione from Florida, who had a little bit of a but he's up.
A hiccup.
But he's up. He's going to be good.
He's going to be real good.
Cam Smith drafted out of Florida State by the Cubs, who got traded to the Astros. Yeah, going to be a superstar. James Tibbs, the third, also drafted out of Florida State. Who else was in that draft? Trey Savage. Oh yeah, him from East Carolina was the
unicorn
drafted by the Blue Jays with the what number pick was he? He was a mid-round pick.
Right.
Who else was in that draft? Cam Kennedy. Just some other guys that have already made huge impacts. And the Rays, by the way, have a 3% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
3.3%. So not much, but they could get, a top 5 pick this year, depending on the lottery. So there are some high school kids out there. Obviously, the Rays love to draft high school shortstops. That's for damn sure.
They do love that, don't they?
Cool.
They've had a slew over the last decade.
Can we go get a college player that can make an immediate impact?
That would be super nice. They almost had one years ago, and now he's the president of the San Francisco Giants by the name of Buster Posey. Your guy that you're like, damn it,
that guy.
We had him.
Yeah.
That guy. That guy. By the way, speaking of Buster Posey, and it all ties into all this talk about great college players. Tony Vitello from University of Tennessee now is his head coach.
Yeah.
He has surrounded them beautifully. They just added Bruce Bochy, and also I believe Dusty Baker's still in a service agreement with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you got these two legendary Hall of Fame former managers around Tony. But that's an interesting pull, right? Here's Buster Posey going, we're drafting a lot of college kids and we're rushing them to the big league.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a trend.
I think it's a trend, bro. I think that this is for real. I think the players at the high level, SEC, ACC, the big conferences in baseball are out west too, are so competitive and they've risen the level now that and you have the NIL, so these players are ready for prime time quicker, especially arms. I mean, the guy that arguably is going to be the Cy Young winner. I think they're announcing that tomorrow, next day. Paul Skeens out of LSU.
Yep.
These guys are coming up quicker,
ready,
or they're being rushed a little bit. But who's the other guy for goodness from the Brewers? The Miz.
Oh yeah,
Borowski.
Yeah,
was another college kid. These guys are spending like a cup of coffee in the minor leagues.
And they're Chandler. Played 4 or 5 years in college.
That's right.
And he came up and he was ready to go.
He was ready to go.
Ready because he's older. I mean, it's a difference between calling up a kid who's 19, 20 years old, like Caminero.
Right.
He's special. He's different.
Right.
But these other guys are, they're graduating. They're playing 4 years of college baseball.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of pitches. And they're ready to go.
I also wonder how much, believe it or not, perfect game has influenced this situation, because a lot, perfect games 9 to 18, right? But that they have that when you get a kid that by the time they're 15, 16, 17, 18, they're exposed to things that, even though I was a top, high school player and wanted and all that type of stuff, I never got exposed to that type of level of competition nationwide. So these guys are going to all these huge nation showcasing. They're being built up. They even have followings on social media.
Oh God, yeah.
So then they go to college, and it continues. And high level games. There's more coverage of the SEC and the College World Series, et cetera, et cetera. So again, the Bright Lights Big City isn't as big a transition for a college kid that comes out, and tries to. And those guys back in my day, it took them 3 or 4 years, and they were 21 coming out of college, to say our junior year, they weren't up until 24.
Right.
Now they come out at 21, they want them up at 22, if not 21.
Because they're cheap too. They're cheap and they're good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at the Rays first round picks the last couple of years. Daniel Pierce, high school shortstop. Theo Gillen, high school outfielder in 24. And then in 23, Braden Taylor from TCU.
Is he a pitcher?
He was shortstop.
Shortstop.
4-year junior. Braden, I don't even remember him.
I don't remember him either.
Yeah. That was a first round pick. So the Rays have not drafted well. I mean, let's just be honest on that.
Not in the last few years.
Nope.
They did a decade or so ago. They had some good ones.
They had some high picks. Yeah. But just traditionally have not drafted well. And I think, maybe this new group might be a little bit more much different in terms of going after more proven.
They've traded really well.
That's how they've stayed competitive. They trade real well, get good players, and then they trade them off for really good players.
100%.
Yeah. That's been their way of staying relevant and staying profitable.
Yeah, buddy.
Extremely profitable. All right, great stuff, partner.
Stuff, man.
As always, we thank you guys. We had a lot of comments today. Really appreciate you guys jumping in. And it adds a lot to the show, and we can get a little dialogue going. What you guys are interested in hearing, that really helps. So we really
thank our sponsors too.
Oh, we haven't thanked our sponsors
but
yet.
We always thank them.
We love our sponsors. Texas Roadhouse, Wesley Chapel.
Because I like to eat.
Well, tell us all about that.
My goodness, Texas Roadhouse is fantastic, right there on Highway 56. If you want a great meal for a great price, as I call it, comfort food for a comfortable price, go on down there, ask for Tyler, the owner. Tyler Hamilton is a big fan of the show, and it's just an exceptional experience for not just for the family, but if you just want to run up there and catch a weekend football game, The bar scene is
have a nice steak.
Fantastical, and have a nice steak. I just
get a hankering for a steak sometimes.
Oh my gosh, who doesn't?
And by the way, if you're going to go try to buy one at the meat market, it's going to cost you $20. So you might as well make them, have them cook it for you, and hand cut it.
12-ounce ribeye in Game 7, and I don't know what was better, my 12-ounce ribeye medium rare or Game 7 watching up at the big board. It was a tough call until Rojas hit that home run. Then I said, okay, the game won.
Game is better. Okay.
Because I already had finished the steak.
Short memory. Also, KingmakersTampa.com. It's our private club that we have this great production studio in right here where we do the Big O show and the JP Peterson show. It's all part of the package here. We have a sports bar here as well where you can watch games. We have a shared office space. We have a nice conference room you can use. So become part of the membership here in Midtown Tampa at KingmakersTampa.com. And the Murphy Auto Group, Genesis of Tampa, which is, I believe we're still taking hurricane donations.
Yes, we are.
Gray Bull Rescue will fly it all down there. So all you got to do is just bring it over there. Or you can have Amazon just deliver the MREs that you buy there. So buy those MREs, shipped to Genesis of Tampa, 801 East Bears, and we'll take them down.
Hey, by the way, also at Genesis of Tampa or at Miracle Toyota, if you're in Haines City, if you come by this weekend or next, just to come by and say hello, they'll enter you in a raffle that we're going to be having that'll win a lucky family a full free dinner for a family for Thanksgiving.
Nice.
And if you test drive a car Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this coming weekend or the next, you'll get that one entry 10 times, so 10x. So
nice.
A great chance of winning a free meal, and you could donate it to somebody or keep it for yourself.
Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah, we're always looking. They're always looking to do special things out in the community, and that's one great thing about Murphy Auto Group.
Absolutely love them. Great local company here, Murphy Auto Group, Kingmakers Tampa, and Texas Roadhouse, Wesley Chapel. Thank you guys for joining us as well. Big O, another great show, and send in your comments, and we'll always answer those as well. So we will join you next on Friday at 12:30 as well. We'll see you then.
Tranquilo y tropical.